At 60, Nicolas Cage finally admits what we all suspected. For the past 30 years, Nicolas Cage has been one of Hollywood's most audacious personalities, with a flair for off-the-wall roles and movies that match his occasionally over-the-top personality. His success, as well as his famous family, he is the nephew of director Francis Ford Coppola, ensured he lived a privileged life. However, he's also faced lots of hardships and low points. From bad career moves to the many lawsuits he has faced and filed, now at the age of 60, Nicolas Cage finally admits what we all suspected. His father wasn't supportive, and his mother experienced mental illness. Nicolas Cage's journey into the world of acting was not without its challenges, especially considering his father's initial disapproval. Born Nicolas Coppola, he hailed from an illustrious artistic lineage, with his father, Auguste Coppola, serving as the dean of the School of Creative Arts at San Francisco State University. However, Auguste was not supportive of Cage's early aspirations to pursue acting. Recounting a poignant moment from his youth, Cage revealed in an interview with David Sheff for Playboy that his father dismissed his acting ambitions, asserting that he would never succeed in the industry. The strained relationship between Nicolas and his father was further complicated by family dynamics, including a revelation made by his mother, Joy Vogelsang, during a heated argument with Auguste. Vogelsang, a former dancer who brought her own artistic flair to the Coppola family, falsely claimed that Nicolas was not Auguste's biological son. This false accusation exacerbated tensions within the family. Additionally, Vogelsang battled severe mental illness throughout Cage's childhood, leading to institutionalization and shock treatment. Cage described his mother's condition as marked by episodes of poetic eloquence interspersed with memory loss, revealing the profound impact her illness had on their family dynamics. Despite the challenges posed by his parents' tumultuous relationship and his mother's illness, Cage maintained a sense of curiosity about her condition, recognizing her influence on his artistic development. Auguste and Vogelsang ultimately divorced when Cage was 12 years old, further shaping his formative years and influencing his perspective on family dynamics and personal identity. Reflecting on his upbringing, Cage emphasized the complexity of his familial relationships and the profound impact they had on his journey as an actor and artist. He struggled to make a name for himself. Nicolas Cage's path to success was far from smooth sailing. In an era where nepotism wasn't as frowned upon as it is today, Cage struggled to make a name for himself in the industry. Despite his familial connection, he encountered resistance when he sought opportunities in Hollywood. As a teenager, Cage approached his uncle multiple times for a chance to prove himself in the industry, only to be turned down repeatedly. Determined to forge his own path and escape the shadow of his famous family, Cage took matters into his own hands. He landed a minor role in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but even then, he felt overshadowed by his surname, which invited ridicule rather than respect. Frustrated by the constant association with his illustrious relatives and the pressure it brought, Cage made the bold decision to reinvent himself. Embracing a newfound independence, he adopted the stage name Cage, drawing inspiration from diverse sources such as the Marvel superhero Luca Cage and avant-garde composer John Cage. Despite facing early setbacks and rejection, Cage remained steadfast in his pursuit of acting success. His breakthrough roles in films like Peggy Sue Got Married and Raising Arizona marked the beginning of his ascent to stardom. Early work and breakthrough. Nicolas Cage's journey into the world of acting began in 1981 with a television pilot titled The Best of Times. Unfortunately, the pilot was never picked up by ABC, marking a disappointing start to his acting career. However, Cage didn't let this setback deter him, and he soon made his film debut in 1982 with a minor role in the coming-of-age film Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Despite his uncle Francis Ford Coppola's prestigious reputation in Hollywood, Cage found himself overshadowed by his family's legacy on set, leading him to contemplate changing his name. His first starring role came in the romantic comedy Valley Girl in 1983, where he played a punk who falls in love with a valley girl, portrayed by Deborah Foreman. The film achieved modest success at the box office and has since gained a cult following. Cage's audition for the role of Dallas Winston in his uncle's film The Outsiders was unsuccessful, but he found himself co-starring in Coppola's adaptation of another S.E. Hinton novel, Rumble Fish, later that year. Throughout 1984, Cage appeared in 3 period films, none of which achieved significant box office success. However, his performances garnered critical acclaim, particularly his portrayal of mob hitman Vincent Mad Dog Call in Coppola's crime drama The Cotton Club. Despite the film's commercial disappointment, Cage's performance was praised for its intensity and depth. In 1986, Cage starred in Peggy Sue Got Married, directed by his uncle Francis Ford Coppola, playing the husband of Kathleen Turner's character. He also showcased his comedic talents in the Coen brothers' Raising Arizona, earning recognition for his portrayal of a dim-witted ex-con. However, it was his role in the romantic comedy Moonstruck in 1987 that catapulted Cage to mainstream success. His performance alongside Cher earned him a Golden Globe nomination and widespread acclaim from critics and audiences alike. Nicolas Cage's early career was marked by a determination to establish himself as a talented actor in his own right, distinct from his family's legacy. Despite facing initial challenges and setbacks, Cage's perseverance and dedication to his craft ultimately paid off, leading to breakthrough roles and critical acclaim. Career slump. In 1989, Nicolas Cage ventured into the realm of black comedy with Vampire's Kiss, portraying a man who becomes convinced that he is turning into a vampire after an encounter with one. Despite being a commercial failure at the box office, the film gained a cult following, largely due to Cage's eccentric and over-the-top performance, which has since become a staple in internet memes. Critic Vincent Canby criticized the film, attributing its downfall to Cage's chaotic and self-indulgent portrayal. Following his stint in Vampire's Kiss, Cage traveled to Zimbabwe to film the Italian drama Time to Kill in 1989. He then starred in David Lynch's romantic crime film Wild at Heart, opposite Laura Dern. Cage was drawn to the role of Sailor Ripley because it allowed him to embody the passionate and romantic characters he was fond of, as well as pay homage to his idol, Elvis Presley, through musical performances in the film. Despite receiving mixed reviews upon its release, Wild at Heart controversially won the Palme d'Or at the 1990 Cannes Film Festival. In addition to his role in Wild at Heart, Cage starred as a helicopter pilot in the action film Firebirds, which failed to impress critics and drew unfavorable comparisons to Top Gun. His next venture, the erotic thriller Zandalee, went straight to video in the United States and failed to secure a theatrical release. However, Cage's performance in the romantic comedy Honeymoon in Vegas earned him positive reviews, with Roger Ebert defending him against critics who found his acting excessive. Cage's portrayal of a cash-strapped police officer in It Could Happen to You was also well received, earning him his second Golden Globe nomination. Despite critical acclaim for some of his performances, Cage faced setbacks with box office disappointments such as Deadfall, Amos and Andrew, and Red Rock West. However, his versatility as an actor was evident in diverse roles ranging from romantic comedies to thrillers. Critical success and action star. Cage continued to showcase his versatility as an actor with his performance as a psychopathic criminal kingpin in the crime film Kiss of Death, which was hailed by critics as the film's standout element. However, It was his portrayal of an alcoholic screenwriter in Leaving Las Vegas that earned him widespread acclaim. Cage's immersive performance in the drama earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor and the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture Drama. To prepare for the role, Cage immersed himself in the character by binge drinking for 2 weeks and studying footage of himself. In 1996, Cage starred alongside Sean Connery and Ed Harris in Michael Bay's action-packed thriller The Rock, marking the beginning of a series of action films for Cage. His role as an FBI chemical weapons specialist breaking into Alcatraz federal prison garnered critical praise and solidified his position as an unconventional action star. This success was followed by starring roles in 2 blockbuster action thrillers released in June 1997, Con Air and Face Off. In Con Air, Cage led an ensemble cast as a parole who must thwart an attempted prison break aboard a U.S. Marshal's aircraft, while Face Off saw him and John Travolta in dual roles as sworn enemies undergoing face transplants to impersonate each other. Both films were commercial hits and showcased Cage's range as an actor. After his string of action films, Cage opted to explore more serious fare with the romantic fantasy film City of Angels, where he portrayed an angel who falls in love with a mortal woman. While opinions on the film and Cage's performance were divided, it demonstrated his willingness to tackle diverse roles. Subsequent projects included Brian De Palma's thriller Snake Eyes and Martin Scorsese's New York City paramedic drama Bringing Out the Dead, further showcasing Cage's ability to navigate between genres. He fights to play a superhero. Nicolas Cage's fascination with superheroes traces back to his childhood, where he immersed himself in the captivating world of comic books. This lifelong passion for superheroes fueled his desire to step into the shoes of iconic characters on the big screen, with his ultimate dream being to portray the legendary Superman. His journey towards this goal was fraught with near misses and dashed hopes, epitomized by his close brush with playing the Man of Steel in Tim Burton's ill-fated project Superman Lives, which ultimately never materialized. Undeterred by setbacks, Cage continued to pursue his ambition of donning the cape and tights of a comic book hero. He was in contention for roles such as Iron Man and even came close to portraying the Green Goblin in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. His commitment to the genre was evident when he signed on to play the titular character in DC's Constantine, only for the project to falter under shifting directorial visions. In 2007, Cage finally realized his superhero aspirations when he was cast as Johnny Blaze in Ghost Rider. Despite facing criticism from reviewers, the film managed to garner enough success to spawn a sequel. Cage's foray into the superhero realm continued with his portrayal of Big Daddy in Kick-Ass and Spider-Man Noir in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, showcasing his versatility within the genre. The culmination of Cage's superhero odyssey arrived in 2018 when he lent his voice to Superman in Teen Titans Go to the Movies. This milestone marked a poignant moment in his career, bringing him full circle to his childhood dream role. The journey came to a fitting conclusion with his cameo appearance as the Superman Lives incarnation of the character in The Flash, providing a nostalgic nod to his earlier involvement in the iconic superhero franchise. Cage's many ill-fated marriages, Nicolas Cage's romantic escapades have been as turbulent as the characters he portrays on screen. His relationship history reads like a roller coaster ride through the ups and downs of love in Tinseltown. In the 1990s, Cage tied the knot with actress Patricia Arquette, but what seemed like a solid union crumbled within a mere 9 months, despite officially lasting over 5 years. The couple chose to maintain the facade of marital bliss until their eventual divorce, adding another layer of complexity to their tumultuous relationship. Interestingly, Cage's journey to proposing to Arquette was no walk in the park. It took him a staggering 5 years to pop the question, during which Arquette devised a seemingly impossible list of tasks for him to complete as proof of his love. Among these demands was the acquisition of a black orchid and the autograph of the reclusive author J.D. Salinger. Ever the romantic, Cage managed to fulfill these requests, albeit with a touch of ingenuity, resorting to spraying a purple orchid with black paint to meet one of Arquette's whims. Surprisingly, Cage's whirlwind romance with Arquette was not his shortest foray into matrimony. In a surprising turn of events, Cage exchanged vows with Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of the iconic Elvis Presley, in August 2002. However, their union was short-lived, culminating in a divorce less than 4 months later. Fast forward to 2019, and Cage's marriage to Erica Koike made headlines for its brevity, lasting a mere 4 days before the actor filed for an annulment. An in-flight prank nearly led to his arrest. Nicolas Cage's mischievous side once landed him in a precarious situation during a flight in the early 90s in an incident involving his friend and fellow actor Charlie Sheen. The escapade occurred circa 1991, as Cage and Sheen were airborne, and Cage, seized by a mischievous impulse, decided to pull off a prank on their fellow passengers. Taking control of the intercom, Cage impersonated the pilot and announced to the entire flight that he was feeling unwell. However, what began as a light-hearted jest quickly spiraled into a potentially serious predicament. Unbeknownst to Cage, Sheen was concealing a stash of drugs on his person at the time. The revelation of Cage's prank prompted the pilot to take swift action, leading to a dramatic scene as the aircraft's door ominously swung open to reveal a group of armed police officers waiting outside. Recalling the nerve-wracking moment during an appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman in 2012, Cage recounted how the pilot pointed an accusatory finger at him while the authorities stood poised for action. In a stroke of luck, Cage managed to defuse the tense situation through his persuasive prowess, convincing the officers to let them off the hook with some quick thinking and smooth talking. Real estate and tax problems. Nicolas Cage's financial ups and downs have been as dramatic as any of the characters he's portrayed on screen. At the height of his career, he was commanding massive paychecks, with Forbes reporting a staggering $40 million in earnings for when, however, by 2014, his star had faded from the magazine's top earners list. Despite his substantial income, Cage's spending habits were equally extravagant. He owned a lavish Malibu home, which he shared with his then-wife Kim, but decided to part ways with the property in 2005, fetching a cool $10 million from the sale. Seeking more exotic locales, Cage invested in a property on Paradise Island, Bahamas in 2004, followed by the acquisition of a picturesque 40-acre island in the Exuma archipelago in May 2006. Not content with just one castle, Cage expanded his real estate portfolio by purchasing the medieval Schloss Neidstein in Germany in 2006, only to sell it 3 years later for $2.5 million. His connection to Germany stemmed from his grandmother, who resided in Cochem an der Moselle. In 2007, Cage made headlines with his purchase of Grey Craig, an opulent country manor in Middletown, Rhode Island, boasting 12 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, and sprawling over 26 acres overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. Around the same time, he acquired Midford Castle in Somerset, England, adding to his impressive collection of properties. However, Cage's financial empire soon began to crumble. In 2009, the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, filed a federal tax lien against his Louisiana property, alleging unpaid taxes amounting to over $6.2 million for 2007, with an additional $350,000 owed from 2002 to 2004. Cage retaliated by filing a $20 million lawsuit against his business manager, Samuel J. Levin, citing negligence and fraud, and faced additional legal battles over unpaid loans. Nicolas Cage's financial woes became increasingly apparent as details of his extravagant spending habits emerged during legal proceedings. His former business manager, Samuel Levin, countered Cage's lawsuit with claims that he had repeatedly warned the actor about his lavish lifestyle and advised him to rein in his spending. Despite Levin's counsel, Cage reportedly indulged in a spree of high-ticket purchases, acquiring a staggering 15 personal residences, a Gulfstream jet, multiple yachts, Rolls-Royce cars, jewelry, and artwork. Among Cage's eclectic acquisitions was a dinosaur skull of a Tarbosaurus. However, the excitement of owning such an exotic item was short-lived when it was discovered to be stolen, prompting Cage to return it to Mongolian authorities. Additionally, he claimed ownership of the LaLaurie House, considered the most haunted house in America, located in New Orleans' French Quarter. However, financial troubles led to the foreclosure and auction of this property, along with others, to alleviate his mounting debts. Even Cage's illustrious Bel Air home, once owned by Dean Martin and Tom Jones, faced foreclosure after failing to sell at auction. Despite an initial offer far below its original asking price, the property eventually sold, albeit at a significant loss. In a bid to alleviate his financial burdens, Cage auctioned off his prized possession, Action Comics #1, for a record-breaking $2.16 million, which he had originally purchased for $110,000. Cage's financial turnaround began with the sale of his beloved comic book and continued as he accepted numerous film roles to settle his remaining debts. By 2022, he proudly announced that he had finally achieved financial solvency and planned to adopt a more discerning approach to his career choices. Reluctant roles he took on to pay off his debts. Despite his financial struggles, Nicolas Cage remained committed to his craft and continued to work tirelessly to climb out of debt. However, by the late 2000s, Cage's career had hit a rough patch. Following disappointments like Bangkok Dangerous and Next, he found himself no longer the box office draw he once was. With his financial obligations looming large, Cage realized that he needed to take on any available opportunity to earn enough to settle his debts. During this challenging period, Cage accepted roles in a series of films that he knew were unlikely to succeed. Reflecting on this dark time in his career, he admitted to 60 Minutes that he reluctantly took on projects he knew would fail, but he remained dedicated to giving each performance his all. Despite the quality of the projects, Cage emphasized that he never phoned in his performances and approached each role with sincerity and commitment. As a result, Cage found himself appearing in an unprecedented number of films each year by the late 2010s, sometimes starring in 3, 4, or even 5 movies annually. While many of these films were met with critical derision and commercial failure, Cage remained steadfast in his dedication to his craft. He acknowledged that not all of the projects he took on were successful, but he found solace in knowing that his hard work helped him financially. In a candid interview with GQ, Cage reflected on his prolific output during this period, acknowledging that while some films, like Mandy, were well received, others did not resonate with audiences. Nevertheless, Cage's relentless work ethic ultimately paid off, and by 2022, he had successfully resolved his financial troubles and was free from his obligations to the IRS. Cage's ex-wife sued for conservatorship over their son. Nicolas Cage's tumultuous romantic history includes a particularly bitter breakup with Christina Fulton, the mother of his first son, Weston. Their marriage, which began in 1988, ended in divorce just 2 years later in 1990, coinciding with the birth of their son, Weston. However, the dissolution of their marriage marked the beginning of a prolonged legal battle that would haunt Cage for decades. In 2009, while Cage was grappling with mounting debt and financial difficulties, Fulton filed a massive lawsuit against him. The lawsuit was triggered by the foreclosure of one of Cage's properties, which Fulton claimed she was residing in. According to Fulton, the home had been awarded to her in their divorce settlement as the primary residence where she raised their son, Weston. At the time of the lawsuit, Weston was facing his own struggles, having moved out of the home and undergoing psychiatric treatment following a public outburst. Despite his involvement in the legal proceedings, Weston distanced himself from his mother's actions, stating that he had no desire for a relationship with her. However, Fulton alleged that Weston was under Cage's influence and sought to gain conservatorship over her son. The legal battle between Cage and Fulton dragged on for years, with tensions running high between the former spouses. Eventually, in 2011, the lawsuit was settled, bringing an end to the bitter dispute. More money, more lawsuits. Nicolas Cage's financial struggles have been widely publicized in Hollywood. Despite facing significant debt, the actor avoided bankruptcy and instead chose to work diligently to repay all his creditors. However, he didn't shoulder all the blame for his financial woes, opting to file a lawsuit against his manager, Samuel J. Levin. In 2009, Cage initiated a staggering $20 million lawsuit against Levin, alleging that his financial manager's risky investment decisions had led to substantial losses, exacerbating Cage's already dire financial situation and resulting in hefty debts to the heirs. According to Cage's lawsuit, Levin's management had placed him in numerous high-risk real estate ventures, ultimately causing significant financial harm. In response, Levin countered Cage's claims, asserting that the actor's own extravagant and impulsive spending habits were the primary cause of his financial downfall. Despite the legal wrangling, the lawsuit was eventually settled out of court in 2012, sparing both parties a lengthy and costly legal battle in front of a judge. Troubles with the law. Over the years, Nicolas Cage has encountered a few legal issues, with one of the most notable incidents occurring in 2011 during an incident in New Orleans. Reports surfaced of Cage's arrest following a night of heavy drinking, during which he was allegedly involved in a heated confrontation with his wife, Alice Kim, outside a local residence. According to police accounts, Cage was seen grabbing Kim's arm and forcefully attempting to pull her towards the property, sparking a dispute over whether it was their rented home. In a fit of anger, Cage was reported to have damaged several vehicles in the vicinity before attempting to flee the scene in a nearby taxi. However, when police intervened, the situation escalated further as Cage began to taunt the officers, openly challenging them to arrest him. Subsequently, Cage was detained, spending some time in jail to sober up, while authorities charged him with offenses including disturbing the peace and public intoxication. Despite Kim's assertions that she did not wish to press charges and her denial of any assault, Cage also faced allegations of abuse. Eventually, all charges against Cage were dropped, but not before the incident garnered significant media attention, landing him in the headlines of entertainment news outlets for the embarrassing public altercation, troubles with domestic violence. In 2011, Nicolas Cage faced allegations of domestic abuse, although the charge was eventually dropped by police. However, this wasn't the only instance where he found himself entangled in accusations of misconduct involving the woman in his life. Fast forward to 2018, and Cage was once again in the spotlight due to claims of abusive behavior, this time made by a former girlfriend named Vicky Park, whom he had reportedly dated in 2017 following his divorce from Alice Kim, as reported by The Independent. However, these allegations emerged amidst a peculiar legal dispute between Park and Cage's ex-wife Kim, with Park alleging harassment by Kim. In the legal proceedings for a restraining order against Kim, Park asserted that Cage battled with alcohol addiction, depression, and mental illness, potentially fueling a pattern of abuse. She cited a specific incident that allegedly took place at a film festival in Vienna, but the gravest accusations were directed at Kim. Park claimed that Kim repeatedly disparaged her to Cage and orchestrated violent confrontations between them. Park stated in the filing, "Her jealousy of my relationship with her ex-husband, my youth and physical appearance, has drove her to take these actions of harassment." She further alleged that Kim's intentions were to provoke Cage into further alcohol abuse and hostility towards her, particularly during moments when she was alone with him in their hotel room in London, England, following the incident in Vienna. Both Cage and Kim vehemently denied what they referred to as absurd allegations. He was in hot water for copyright infringement. Nicolas Cage found himself embroiled in another legal tangle over his 2002 indie film, Sonny. As reported by Variety at the time, Cage narrowly avoided a copyright infringement lawsuit related to the movie, opting to settle out of court. In Sonny, which he directed and had a minor role in, Cage cast James Franco and Mena Suvari in a tale about a veteran soldier pressured by his mother to re-enter the world of male prostitution. The lawsuit was brought forth by Robert Dellinger, a TV writer from the 1970s, known for his work on shows like Starsky and Hutch. Dellinger asserted that he had contributed to the script, claiming collaboration with the film's credited screenwriter John Carlin on various screenplays during the 70s, which later evolved into Sonny. Seeking $2 million in damages, the case was eventually settled out of court. Dellinger expressed gratitude, acknowledging the settlement as healthy, while appreciating Cage's side for resolving the matter. Despite controversies and legal battles, he continues to be a prolific and versatile actor, leaving an indelible mark on the film industry. As we reflect on Cage's journey, what aspect of his life or career do you find most intriguing? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful content about Nicolas Cage's fascinating life and career journey.